All right. So, weapons for the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot of, condescending talk about the War Colts' current weapons. And they're okay. They're obviously not good enough to carry Carson Wentz anywhere. Philip Rivers made it to the playoffs with these guys. Philip Rivers had the best numbers, some of the best numbers of his career with this receiver core. So obviously, it's not all them. Andrew Luck also made it to the playoffs with a similar core to this. So obviously, it's not all them. They're not. I will admit they are not elite, and they're mostly not even good. Like they're not the best. They're not the best guys out there. Zach Pascal is solid from the slot. I think he had he only had like 300 receiving yards this year. He was solid from the slot for Philip Rivers. I'm pretty sure he played with Andrew Luck. I don't quite remember. Um, Michael Pittman is a rising star. He has all the potential in the world to be a top 10 receiver in this league. And you really have to have a top 10 guy to be successful in the league. You have to have a top 10. You have to have a top 10 receiver to be successful in the league on offense. And Michael Pittman could very well reach that role. Now, arguably, so there's top 10 receivers. And arguably, there's about 13 guys that can be argued in the top 10. You can go through, you can swap whoever out you like, whether you like DK Metcalf or whoever, right? But there's guys you can argue in and out of top 10. I feel like Michael Pittman can put himself in that argument if we get him a good quarterback, right? So, but we can always stand to upgrade weapons like Ashton Dillon. There's never a position you cannot use that can't be upgraded, unless we're talking like Quentin Nelson. DeForest Buckner would be a hard one to upgrade. Darius Leonard would be nearly impossible to upgrade. So Jonathan Taylor can't upgrade that. So we got 4 guys on our team that just can't be an upgrade because they're already like the best at their position. Whereas DeForest Buckner is right behind Aaron Donald. Quentin Nelson is the best offensive lineman in the league. Darius Leonard is the best linebacker in the league. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I don't care if you think how. I don't care if. I'm sorry. It just makes me upset. I don't care how good you think Fred Warner is. Darius Leonard is the man. He's the best guy. Bobby Wagner's washed. Fred Warner, number 2 to Darius Leonard. The only guy better than Buckner is Aaron Donald. And then Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the league. He can pass block. He can run the ball. He can run it out shotgun. He can catch the ball. These are things Derrick Henry can't do. Derrick Henry can't catch the ball. Derrick Henry doesn't pass block well. Derrick Henry is a pure runner at this point. But that's completely different thing. Completely different video that we can talk about and make. But tight ends, Jackie Doyle, you've been of great service to us, and I'm going to miss you if you retire. Ain't gonna lie. And you took some growing on. He took a lot of growing pains for me to like him, and I do can really genuinely say I do really like Jack Doyle, and I will miss him on this team. Mo Alley Cox, he's a free agent, so all we're stuck with at the moment on the roster is Kylan Granson. And Kylan Granson, he's small for a tight end. He looks like he's kind of fast. He's got okay, he's okay. Kylan Granson is not a starting tight end. He's 6'3". He's a receiver on the line of scrimmage. He's not like Kyle Pitts or any of these other guys. You want a nice 6'5" tight end, right? So that being said, weapons in the draft class we can get, and we're picking at number 47. If we don't use that pick on a quarterback like Desmond Ridder or Carson Strong, and I hope to God it's not used on Sam Howell. Hope to God that kid's he's so bad. We could potentially be looking at guys like Jahan Dotson falling to us, and George Pickens, and these are 2 of the biggest names in the draft. And there's also Drake Bell. Is that his name? Bell, the guy from Pitt. Is that where he's from? Don't remember. I haven't watched none of him. I haven't even looked at anything up to do with Bell. But so I'm not even going to talk about him anymore. But we're going to talk about Jahan Dotson and George Pickens. So Jahan Dotson is not going to be a T.Y. Hilton replacement. I can tell you that straight up. Jahan Dotson is just like Rondale Moore and Elijah Moore coming out right now. If I had to choose between these three guys, because they're all about the same build, they're all like the same prototype type dudes, except Rondale Moore actually can take the top off defense, and his deep route running is not awful. And Rondale Moore has elite speed. Elijah Moore has great speed. Jahan Dotson is like the great value version of Elijah Moore and Rondale Moore, where Rondale Moore will destroy defenses with his speed. He's almost like Tyreek Hill, a little more Tyreek when Tyreek was in development than T.Y. Hilton, Rondale Moore is. And Elijah Moore is such a talented catcher, this kid could catch a football being hit by a semi-truck. and he's a great route runner, like, with great speed. Like, Elijah Moore is so good. And then you have Jahan Dotson, he's really good at creating separation underneath, but he lacks the ability to take tops off defense. He has good, not great speed. His hands are nice. He has good hands. But that deep route running it's left wanting. I've every deep route I've ran, I've watched him run. My bad. Every deep route I've watched him run, he either gets pushed to the sideline, to the out of bound, and make a really tough throw for the quarterback. And you don't want that. You want a little bit of cushion between you and that sideline, so your quarterback has room to throw that back shoulder, and it's not necessarily just a jump ball. Which, again, he's 5'10", he's not winning jump balls. And I watched him try to get open on a fade route with a corner playing off coverage, and he just doesn't know how to attack the back hip and attack that back foot and get that corner turned around, right? So he just doesn't really know how to do that. He doesn't have the speed to really threaten these corners. He has good speed, like he can get open underneath. He's a pure slot guy. He's a slot guy to the purest definition you can get. And if we draft him to replace Zach Pascal, who is a pending free agent for us, I would be fine with that. But don't think Jahan Dotson's going to come in and be a T.Y. Hilton replacement because he has a similar build to T.Y. And now the big guy, George Pickens could potentially be there. George Pickens, I've seen a lot of George Pickens in the second round. George Pickens is without a doubt a first-round talent. George Pickens is so insane. He's so crazy, and he has the injury issues, and so that's obviously a little scary to go into, but it's a second-round pick. I mean, it is the first pick of our draft. But George Pickens is at 47. You got to take him. Like, this dude's upside is the highest of the draft. Like, Jameson Williams is my number one receiver. I like Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is a nice route runner, and he can get open deep, and he has good speed. He has some concentration drops I'm not a fan of, and he doesn't really help extend plays very well. He finds the green in zone coverages pretty nicely. Chris Olave is Chris Olave is smooth, dude. Like, Chris Olave's deep route running is unmatched in the draft, except by George Pickens. George Pickens' deep route running is nuts. The way he just creates separation at any turn. So Garrett Wilson, he's like my number 2-3 guy, maybe number 3 guy, maybe number 4 guy, depending on because I like George Pickens a lot. At the moment, I got to go watch more film on George Pickens and really know how much I like him. But George Pickens, from what I've seen, he creates a ton of separation. He wins jump balls like Drake London does, which that's another thing is I'm not high on Drake London. Drake London is just Kenny Galladay. He's a big-bodied, physical receiver that gets no separation whatsoever, catches tough balls in traffic very well, and he turns those 50-50 balls into 75-20 balls. And he's really good at what he does. But as a complete receiver, let's stop comparing Drake London to Megatron when he's more or less Kenny Galladay. Chris Olave I really like. He reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson. He's got that elite speed. He just blows the top off the defenses. Crazy good deep route running. And George Pickens just is Jameson Williams is the best of both of Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, but we're not getting any of these guys. And then you have George Pickens, who is big and physical like Drake London. He looks to be faster than Garrett Wilson with the route running of Garrett Wilson, and amazing hands. Like from what I've seen, he has incredible hands. He catches stuff. So what we have concerns about Garrett Wilson though is his attitude, supposedly alleged attitude problems, which I've watched some of his camp videos. He seems to be like a really cool guy, but got to do more research on that. Of course, you got to look at his injury history. I think he has a torn ACL from a year or two ago, so you got to watch out for that. But he looked to be playing pretty good ball in the games that he played this year. Tight end speakings. So Trey McBride will be there in the second round. I don't know if we want to go Trey McBride because honestly, George Pickens and Jahan Dotson and the quarterbacks that may be there, I don't think Trey McBride is a feasible option for us. But but later in the draft, one of my favorite tight ends that was a draft I was looking at a couple years ago from Oklahoma had retired due to concussions. Grant Calcaterra. He came back to football last year, or this year. He came back to football this year. Another SMU tight end. He obviously didn't play with Colin Granson, so there's not a connection there. But another SMU guy, Grant Calcaterra. This dude high points the ball like Drake London. Maybe not like Drake London, but Grant Calcaterra knows how to get open. He knows how to find these soft spots. He has sure hands. And I think Grant Calcaterra could potentially be a steal in this draft just because of this is another guy with, unfortunately, injury histories. It's such a great player with major injury history. These are just a few of the weapons that I've been thinking about that the Colts could go after, and a few guys that I would really like. Jahan Dotson, not so much I would like, but definitely George Pickens. I would risk whatever type of problems he's having at pick 47 for George Pickens. I think this dude is a special talent. He has an ability to absolutely be a superstar. And between him and Michael Pittman Jr., they could propel each other into being into that top 10 receiver argument and really help out whoever our quarterback is next year that's not named Carson Wentz.